101 TKO Radio. Prepare for takeoff in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
People of the universe, welcome. It's an honor to be here. Again, you are Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio. Make sure you have that app downloaded. It's a major key to unlock this entire universe that we're looking forward to sharing with you.
Yeah, you can listen live on the app. You can watch us live on YouTube or Facebook on 101 TKO Radio. There's a lot of ways to get connected, y'all. So make sure that you're fully connected and you get to experience this. Not just our show, but many other great shows too, exclusively here on 101 TKO Radio.
Yes, indeed.
So Daze, we're actually pre-recording this moment because at this current point in time, while this is live, we will be in New Orleans. And you've never been to New Orleans, right? This is going to be your first time?
First time in NO.
I'm very excited to show them around. This will be my first time flying in. I'm from Houston, so usually I drive in with my family. So this is going to be our first time, couples trip to New Orleans. Why are we going to New Orleans, though? What's the significance?
So 29 is one of those interesting birthdays where when I was thinking about how I wanted to celebrate it in 2023, I was reflecting on what felt aligned with me. Because I know I definitely want to make 30 a major moment in 2025. Shout out to all my 95 babies out there. We timeless, though. Age ain't nothing but a number, right? Respectfully. Just looking at 29, I knew, again, I had to make it special.
Yeah.
Want to make it symbolic. Don't necessarily want to repeat the ways that I've celebrated in previous years or different chapters. So how can we do something new? How can we do something fresh? And I'm a big proponent of seeking out the signs and trusting that the universe will present the proper messages to let you know what you should do. And again, just trusting that you will be surrounded by who you're meant to be surrounded by. So,
yeah,
when ideating about that, I had already known that Drake and J. Cole, two of my biggest inspirations musically, just from my teenage years to now. Both of them have definitely built careers. Again, that three-headed monster, got to give special shout out to Kendrick as well. But I really appreciate how they've carried that baton in hip-hop in a way that I think is understood, appreciated, and aligned by the masses, and especially when it comes down to the hip-hop royalty that still exists and that are still doing their thing. I think there's been a respectful recognition of how Kendrick, Drake, and Cole have come together. So just when it comes down to
and
that,
they're like 10 years your senior.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Cole is 39. He turned 39 January 28th. So my birthday being January 31st. Just us sharing that Aquarius energy.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Aquarian age. Yeah, I just knew that, all right, there's some special alignment here. So when I peeped that they would be in New Orleans on January 30th, I was like, oh, yeah, this is the perfect way to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah.
And just doing a quick little Google again. Love to travel. Shout out to my mama, who's an angel in the sky. She's a woman of many, many talents. And, she has expertise and mastery in a number of different areas. In that same regard, one of those trades that she's been doing since the years of college and kind of using this grind of being a flight attendant during that chapter to help support her journey. She's still been doing her thing in the air, but being a blessing. So again, always prayers, love to all those traveling. Safe travels in those skies.
Yes.
Love you, mama. Safe travels. But yeah, and knowing that I have that in me, like exploration, the love to travel.
Mm-hmm. That's the Aquarius in you too.
Shout out to that. So once we saw that alignment with the concert, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great way to celebrate the birthday.
Yeah, and I've been wanting to go back to New Orleans too, especially us. We've been talking about, I feel like since we got together, that we need to have a couples trip to New Orleans.
Indeed. So yeah, I know we tried to plan it out a couple of different times, but real life demanded our attention.
As real life does.
Indeed. So, gotta trust the timing.
Yeah.
And
truly trust the timing, because it was supposed to be a birthday trip.
It was supposed to be a birthday trip. And, if y'all spend a good amount of money on, concert tickets, make sure you're on top of your email.
No, straight up.
I have no excuses, but I'm going to keep it real. Right now, I have a lot of content on my phone, so I don't have a lot of apps. And one of those apps that I don't have downloaded is Gmail. I have to go into my iCloud to check up on just my updated emails when I'm not at my laptop.
Yeah.
So with something like a concert, that goes to a little bit more of a personal email. So you're not catching it. I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's no way that they're
gonna reschedule it.
Yeah. But they just happen to launch their tour a little later than expected.
So it pushed all the tour dates back.
Indeed. And I was intentionally not looking for that content because I knew, hey, I want to see it all.
Yeah, be surprised.
Yeah, be surprised. So thank goodness we just happened to check in. Shout out to my mama again.
Yeah, shout out to mama, because it was definitely her little push that reminded us to just double check the tickets were good.
She was just in New Orleans, doing a little lay of the land.
Yep, scoping things out for us.
Yeah, scoping things out. So definitely shout out to her and that world traveler energy that has helped to create me. So looking forward to New Orleans. I know it's a mecca of its own. The festival that we work on in Rochester, New York, on a yearly basis, and that our family owns, the Rochester Summer Soul Music Festival. It's definitely a mirror to the Essence Fest. It's the Essence Fest of the North, if you will, or Essence Fest is the Rock Summer Soul Fest of the South. However you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
So I've already had New Orleans on my radar for a number of different reasons. So shout out to Mardi Gras season. I'm pretty sure that's just coming to a close.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see stuff Mardi Gras related. I'm gonna look though, because I want to see if we can have that experience too.
What the weather look like? The weather looks like it'll be nice.
Oh, we are going to be enjoying ourselves. We're just doing a quick 24-hour vibe in New Orleans. So, if you guys have any suggestions, Amir Daze and Mickey LaDawn on social media, if you happen to be in New Orleans or know some New Orleans spots, we're going to try and hit as much as we can in that 24 hours. Or is it? It's kind of like 24 plus another 12. So it's 36 hours in New Orleans. It's going to be fun, though. I got a little itinerary already, written up. I got to make a couple tweaks. And it's going to be in the 70s. So perfect way. I think it was perfect timing because it was going to be cold when we were if we went in January. So going now, and it's a Thursday. If y'all don't know, New Orleans, like Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, not really like a lot of nightlife, not a lot of stuff going on. So it's actually hard to find like black-owned spots that were open on the earlier part of the week, the Monday through Wednesday time frame. So now that the show got moved to Thursday, it actually worked in our favor because a lot of the spots that I wanted us to go to are open. They weren't open our first time. So God works everything out. Speaking of dope black-owned experiences, in Atlanta, we had a dope experience this past weekend on Sunday. This dope series called About Last Night. It's an R&B wine night hosted by Agenda Studios. They do it every other Sunday, not far from our crib, like around the Midtown area, or I think it was more like in Edgewood. We met a couple characters that were saying they were parking attendants, but it's just homeboy that likes to be on the street wearing a parking vest. So that was an interesting experience as well. But overall, really, really enjoyed the R&B wine night. Shout out to Kamal. Shout out to Deja for the invite. Love our couple friends that we can hang out with and just enjoy good vibes with. But all my people out there that love R&B, they love wine, this is definitely a destination for you. We'll definitely be back. Shout out to Agenda Studios for About Last Night. Really enjoyed that vibe. Good DJs too. Yeah, really loved it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to our New Orleans trip. Like I said, we're pre-recording this moment, so there's still more to come, still more to talk about, of course. But definitely looking forward to you guys hearing more from us soon. We're going to be going live so you can, enjoy it with us when we're there. So shout out to future Michaela, shout out to future Amir, future Dawn Daze listening to this live in a couple days.
We in the future.
Yeah.
We in the future.
So we'll be back. Once again, you're listening to Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio. Let's enjoy some first person shooter. Drake and J. Cole.
All those vibrations, all those vibrations. From first person shooter, big as the what? To all the rich baby fathers. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's a blessing just to celebrate life. And that's what this music really reminds us. Certainly, a lot of controversy and that surrounds the music.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not new. That's something that has been consistent throughout many different decades, many different generations.
Yeah.
The importance is for you as the listener, for you to develop a responsible relationship with all of this music. Know that there's a time and a place to get into a certain vibe. And at the end of the day, the way I see it, who really has the right to judge? In all of these situations, live your truth. If you want the vibration to change and shift, be that change you want to see.
Yeah.
Don't complain about the vibration and frequency that's out here if you're not doing active work to actually change it. Mm-hmm. Again, certainly have a respectable opinion on it. But when it's, when it comes down to the conversations around the Sexy Reds, the Drakes of the world, again, shout out to SZA on that recent track as well. Again, certainly shout out to J. Cole for how he has built a reputation of integrity in the game.
Yeah.
And again, we just know that when things get into that popular space, when there's a lot of eyes on something, there's always going to be a lot of criticism. So
straight up,
I know, again, both of those songs do what they do in different social settings. So at the end of the day, music is created to heal. Music's created to learn. So let's make sure that we're doing that.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're doing that. So again, hey, let it breathe. Set yourself free responsibly, of course. Certainly want to be very mindful with how we share some of this entertainment with some of our younger generations. Mm-hmm. And knowing that when it's time for grown folk content, it's time for grown folk content. And we need to be able to have that responsibility with our entertainment, with our valuetainment. And
draw that line in the sand.
Draw that line. Mm-hmm. And if we are going to, again, enjoy some mindless entertainment, then who's in control? So at least just making sure if you are going to engage that you're doing so responsibly. Just like, you drink responsibly, watch your content responsibly, listen responsibly.
Yep. All 5 senses being as intentional as possible, because that's how we connect with this physical world. Hello, Tree of Life, Lisa. Thanks for joining.
Yes, Lord.
This time is all about just making sure that you're being intentional with what you're allowing yourself to eat, to view, to feel, all those things. And music is a big part of it. I think sometimes we can feel like we're just engaging with things, like you said, unconsciously, mindlessly, without intention. And it goes a long way when you're intentional. Think about a week of listening to just straight gospel music versus a week of listening to like screamo rock. You're going to be in 2 different vibes. And it goes a long way.
Definitely different frequencies.
Yeah.
And, just even the spiritual work, frequencies that are proven to contribute to your healing journey.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a literal frequency. There are literal notes that are played.
The solfeggio frequencies.
What's that?
So there's a whole bunch, like you say, 432 hertz.
I know a little bit about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, you were touching on it. Like there's a whole bunch of different ones. I think there's about 9 of them total that qualify. But for sure, I know 432 is one. I'm not gonna name all of them because then I'm gonna sit here and be wrong. But I feel like there's another one that's in the 1100 range, and there's like a 932. Shoot, while we're here, let's just really make sure we're talking about it the right way.
Yeah, and it's both ends of the spectrum. There are frequencies that nourish you, and there are also frequencies that can be addictive, and that can spark some of those lower frequencies.
Totally. Some of the ones I'll shout out is 174 hertz, 396, 528, 852, 963. All of them have their own benefits and frequencies for different things. So if you look that up, you can go on a whole deep dive and do which one you need for certain, issues you might be having on a physical level or a spiritual level. So big shout out to that.
Yes,
music,
indeed.
Music is really healing. Sound healing is real.
All of the different resources, all of the different tools that we can use. Again, special shout out to Tree of Life Connect Collection. Tree of Life Collection. The Tree of Life Collection. Life with a Y. Tap in for a lot of different resources, a lot of different tools that you can put in your spiritual toolkit.
And that's so important.
Again, these products that we can invest in make a difference in our life and our lifestyle. Being able to approach our lives with a framework, being able to understand the tools of the universe, understand what's naturally occurring in nature, and how we can utilize these different minerals, these different oils, different stones and crystals that have legitimate impact on the universe and the frequencies around us. Nature is a real thing. There are very real conclusions and observations that we've drawn from studying science. So recognizing that the spiritual experience connects to the scientific experience, connects to the social experience, that's what we really want to just continue to remind everyone, that we are truly connected in more ways than we think, beyond what we see in plain sight. So it's just very important to be very responsible in how we approach all these spaces. So as we continue to get more advanced with technology, one of those things that we've seen change a lot with technology is social interaction. And it's no secret that in this evolution of social media, it's affected a lot of relationships. It's affected how people view and approach relationships.
Yeah.
So as far as the moments of going Facebook official, and when Facebook is really making its initial splash in the market of social media, and we're seeing these big moments of making that public display of affection with your partner, saying, hey, I'm in a relationship with so-and-so. Before, again, maybe getting married, that Facebook stamp is a message to your following, to your community, that, hey, this is a person I'm taking seriously. So if things go left on social media, that also means that you're subjected to some drama.
Yep. Everyone already knows who you're in a relationship with. So if you're talking about some drama you're going through, everybody already knows. And that's why, you see a lot of times girls, especially like on Instagram or like Snapchat, you're not tagging them. You're not posting his face. Maybe you're only posting his hands. I'm sure guys do their own similar things with how they keep their women private. But it becomes a big deal once you add that tag, on the picture. Or like you said, you go Facebook official and say to the world, I'm officially in a relationship with somebody. That's like a big step now. 20 years ago or 30 years ago, whatever, that's not something that you're even considering, me putting my relationship out in the public on a social media, World Wide Web standpoint. Now it's like a standard, like, oh, I thought you put me on your social media, so I thought we was together. Or you gonna cheat on me knowing that, it says I'm in a relationship with you on Facebook. That's different. That's not something we were talking about even in 2004. Excuse me, 2004.
Real deal. I mean, what has been your experience with going public?
Yeah. Honestly, before you, as you know, I've only been in like what I would consider one other really serious relationship. And so previously, I'm not posting them a whole bunch on my personal pages or my Instagram pages. Twitter would be a little different because of just like the environment on my college campus. Twitter was something where, things were moving more quickly. So you're probably exposing yourself or putting out your drama on Twitter more than you'd be putting it on like Instagram or Facebook, at least in like my college ecosystem. So before you, only, technically only one other guy was like officially on the Facebook and Instagram side of things, where it's like, I'm officially in a relationship with this person. Snapchat and Twitter, I would definitely be more fleeting and let things of like my business and drama flings be on those platforms. And I think that's different for everybody, and everybody's like, upbringing on how you gauge that. But that was, my personal approach to it.
No, for real. I feel it.
What about y'all? What was it like, in your dating world? How did y'all kind of differentiate? Was Instagram like y'all's thing more?
Yeah, I mean, it's different reasons, different seasons. Instagram definitely was more prevalent in my college years.
Yeah.
But high school, Facebook, Twitter, having some of those moments. For me, being a person that identifies as a noble man, as a romantic man,
Yeah.
typically I would, in my more naive chapters, jump to the public display or the public claiming probably earlier than I needed to. Again, respect to all those, you know, individuals that have been part of my journey. Very grateful for love in all its forms, and how it all has contributed to where I am today and to where we are today.
Yeah.
That said, though, sometimes again you're doing things because it, for me, almost, like, I'll speak to my experience. It was almost a formula, and
What was the formula?
you meet somebody you like, you build with them. Once you get uh, a month to a few months into it, feeling like, okay, if I really like this person, I want to build with this person.
Yeah.
So, me probably evolving things quicker than they needed to be evolved, again, premature cocooning, if you will.
I get that.
Forcing the flower to blossom instead of, respectfully saying, oh, maybe this flower wasn't meant to blossom. Just because I planted the seed doesn't mean that, again, the environment contributes.
Soil.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's going to contribute to its growth.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, sometimes when you go down that cycle and that formula, like, oh, this is who I'm with, so since this is who I'm with, no disrespect to the ladies that I've, been connected to, and not to materialize their essence and call them a trophy. But sometimes it's a thing. And even when it comes down to what we see in, popular entertainment, the models that you can secure for your videos can sometimes be associated with your value and how people perceive you.
Totally.
So again, it's different for different people in the levels to relationships. But yeah, I was definitely somebody that would make that a priority to find a person that I'm claiming, that I'm standing next to from season to season. That was something that I, whether you call it from childhood on and just the fairy tale energy, but I was always on a mission to find my person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess you can call it trial and error, and social media got involved in that.
I totally get that. When we come back, I'm going to share more about my experience too with you. I know you talked about you being a serial monogamist, and there's mirrors that we have, but mine is a little more unique. So we'll talk more about our relationship journey and what's tasteful, what makes sense when it comes to sharing your relationship publicly. Stay close. You're listening to Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio. Welcome back. You are Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio.
What's good?
Yes. Before the break, Amir was sharing some of his kind of journey, his love journey to get to this point. He was sharing about, just his experience in previous years with other young ladies that have brought us to this point. Shout out to all y'all. I hold no grudges, and I know Amir don't hold no grudges to people of my past, because if it wasn't for them, we would not be who we are today, right? Everybody in some way contributes to your growth and your, just ascension into the person you're supposed to be. So grateful for that. We're always able to just play a role in someone else's journey, right? That's the attitude to have towards your exes, y'all, so you can be in a healthy relationship. But while we're on that subject, I feel compelled to share a little bit about just my journey too, because it mirrors Amir so much, but there's a different nuance, and I feel like that has to do a lot with our gender too. Previously, I may have had different partners who I really was emotionally invested in, but we never took that time to add the title in the relationship. And you could say that's my fault. You could say that's their fault. I think that it always comes down to the personal dynamic and personal relationship. For me, I don't know if people would call me a serial monogamist, but I was definitely always in something, always in a relationship, always in a situationship. I even, when I first got to college, was already in a relationship, and it was, in my eyes, we both were feeling like it was pretty serious and we were committed to each other. So when I was no longer in a relationship, I think I was 19 when we broke up. I think a part of me, I was like, okay, well, I'm in college. I'm supposed to do all these different things, have all this different fun. And I felt like I just kind of made myself vulnerable to that. And it just caused a whole, cycle from there. And I don't think I ever fully took time to heal at a lot of different points. So for me, it wasn't like I was jumping from serious relationship to serious relationship, but I was jumping from situationship to situationship, looking for love, approaching it just the wrong way. When you are in a relationship and you're leading it with the physical, you're leading it with the sexual, you're most likely not going to build that really strong foundation. And so that was the biggest lesson that I learned in my love journey getting to Amir, was the power of having a friendship first and building the physical and the sexual on top of that afterwards. You can do it at the same time, and I think we definitely took that, delicate balance that summer of 2018, and our relationship was a beautiful time. I learned so much just in those 3 months with him about what I thought I wanted, and realizing like it actually is possible. I met someone that really loves me for me, and I can see that he really loves me for me, and we're able to grow through this together. Even that whole year after we met, him and his patience with me while I was going through my own journey, committing certain love crimes, but also just feeling like I had to get it out of my system, as they say, right? Even looking back, that's not even the healthiest approach and mindset, but it was something that I needed in certain ways to feel like I was ready for a committed relationship. So I say all that to say, putting your relationship on the internet, putting your partner on the internet is vulnerable. It is definitely something that we confront daily, especially before we started this radio show. How are we going to approach it that still protects us and protects, certain parts of our relationship that we want to keep sacred, but still being able to share with the world some of the things that we've gone through so that other people can learn and grow too. And that's kind of the age that we're entering, right? You can't be afraid to be seen. You can't be afraid to be vulnerable, because somebody else might learn from your experience. Somebody else might learn from the things that you've been through. So just thought I'd share that little tidbit too. But Daze, kind of, I think the world might benefit, especially people that, are in your shoes, how to kind of like keep the faith, when your partner or who you see as your partner, they're telling you one thing, they're doing something else, and the kind of the journey that we went on. Yeah, if you want to maybe share any thoughts about that.
Absolutely. I think faith in one thing translates to faith in everything. Mm. And what is your faith? What is your foundation? When you think about the first time that you became conscious of the life that you're living, how do you make sense of it?
Yeah.
How do you navigate what's right and what's wrong? So during that chapter, I had to really enter a deep level of self-reflection of seeing the many different chapters of my life and using the clear evidence, if you will, understanding, all right, if I've been through this cycle in relationships that many times, that pattern is not happening for no reason. It's not a
Yep.
random.
Yep.
It's not a
Snaps to
random
that.
thing.
Snaps to that. Patterns.
Absolutely.
Yes. So true.
Love yourself. That's the biggest thing. And just knowing that if you love yourself, what is meant for you will come back to you.
Yeah.
And shout out to this special song. I know we were just doing a deep dive in the archives, and I was referring to how this song meant a lot to me in my middle school years. It was a song. It was on the soundtrack for Romeo Must Die. Rest in peace to both Aaliyah and DMX.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Come back to me.
Yeah.
And DMX on that song, he's just, speaking to an energy of if you lose something, and it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, that's up, what I'm saying, for discussion. That's a mystery unsolved, I guess. Ultimately, though, it's just trusting that what's meant for you will find you.
Yeah.
It'll come back to you if it's truly meant to be.
Yeah.
In that same regard, you definitely have to be proactive. You have to take initiative to get anything that you want in life and to create the world that you think is best for you.
Yep. I love that you mentioned that part, because I think one part of it is, yes, the sitting and waiting. With all things manifestation, you want to make sure that you're creating space for these things to be welcomed in. However, another big part of manifestation is you're meeting God halfway, you're meeting the universe halfway to do the work. And if it wasn't for Amir showing Daze, if it wasn't for Daze showing his intention to me during that period when we were kind of just going through it, still trying to figure out for me if I was ready to be in a committed relationship, if he hadn't made it very clear what his intentions were and how much he loved me unconditionally during that time, I don't know if we would be here right now. I have to give him credit for the work that he did. Like you said, one part of it is the sitting and waiting, but the other part is the intentionality and letting that person know that I do care about you. I do want you. Now, this is where we have to draw the line in the sand about boundaries, because there was even a couple moments where Amir's intention at the time scared me and I didn't like it. It turned me off momentarily. But in the long run, especially once I had gone through what I had gone through and had my heart broken again, and I'm sitting with myself and I'm looking at the card that he sent me and the gift that he made me at different points in time, suddenly my viewpoint of it and my appreciation for it comes full circle to where I'm like, I don't know what, I don't know how things would have gone if he hadn't done those things. I'm sitting there crying, looking at these gifts like, dang, he really does love me. He really does care for me. He really did show up in a way that I didn't think anybody cared enough to do. I hadn't seen that before. So that has to be acknowledged too when it comes to just kind of that distinction you make. And he even saw me going through things. This is like, again, the subject matter of making your relationship public. He saw me going through things on Twitter and who I was messing with and what I was doing. And I may not have been officially with these people in this relationship, but the world knew. It was public enough, right? So it's just those different things. Everybody got their, different strokes for different folks, right? Of how we approach relationships and what it means to be social media official. Maybe you're Twitter official, but you're not Facebook official. All these different worlds that we sit in as far as what it means to be in like a public relationship or a committed relationship or, just a relationship, period. People don't even like that word sometimes, right? So many different layers to it.
Truly, I mean, you got to stay true to yourself, because knowing what your boundaries are, understanding the world around you and how to respect others and their boundaries, it's sensitive territory.
Yeah.
And fact of the matter is, to be a change maker, you have to push boundaries. You have to trailblaze.
Yeah.
You have to find breakthroughs without breakage or breakdown, and you have to persevere with the proper pressure that makes diamonds and doesn't necessarily burst pipes.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, being a student of life, being a student of love is going to matter. All the things that we experience, do not neglect the lessons learned, because God's universe will test you.
Yeah.
You will get tested. And I believe we live in a very fair ecosystem, in a very fair reality and universe. Things might be confusing. Things might hurt at different times.
Yeah.
But time and time again, when all the dust settles, when the smoke clears, I see a overwhelming amount of equilibrium and fairness that exists. Even when, people try to take things out of whack or push things out of whack, things always find their way back. Yeah, we find our way back to a level of peace and balance after any storm.
Yeah, I love that. And that applies to just life in general, right? That's not just in a committed relationship, but in that conversation of being in a committed relationship and, getting through certain storms, I think that's where it can be difficult. We've had to learn that, through trial and error too, of how we can get through different storms together. Different tools, like we were talking about this spiritual toolkit that you have. I think one thing that we're starting to explore and talk about is how realistic is couples therapy? How helpful is couples therapy in a relationship? We've seen it be helpful. We've seen it, maybe not go that way. So what are your thoughts on that, Amir, or Daze, as far as like your spiritual toolkit and where couples therapy sits in that?
I'm here for a lot of things, and couples therapy is one of those things where it's a great tool. I mean, it's a great thing to have somebody that has built an expertise in studying relationships and studying patterns in romantic relationships. And
they're non-biased too. That helps,
Right. Whether it be marriage or a domestic partnership or a spiritual union, however you describe it, it's always a blessing to have a third party to equalize the space. The sensitive aspect is not letting that third party get too deeply involved in your business. And I know that's a big topic of conversation, not bringing friends and family into certain relationship drama, because things can get taken out of translation, get lost in context, and now these family members are having some type of effect on the stability or the validation that you feel in your relationship.
Yep. And now, this couples therapist, pseudo friend or parent now has all these different things in their mind, some kind of tally, whether they're conscious of it or not, that is, marked against whoever side, they're against, right, in that moment. Sometimes those things can happen, whether they realize it or not. So it's a delicate game, because when you bring somebody else into your relationship, I think you want to do it as grounded as possible and as much of a team effort as possible too, because it makes a difference in the long run and on the back end how, that family member or trusted friend or trusted just tribe member might feel about your relationship and feel about you too. So it's a delicate balance.
It's delicate. And, those family members and close friends that have been around for a very long time, it's certainly important to respect those relationships. And this is where your faith becomes very, very important.
Yeah.
And discernment becomes very, very important, because, again, we want to do the right thing like Spike Lee. In every scenario, what's the right thing to do? And if we intentionally do the wrong thing, do we learn from it?
Yeah.
Okay, you have free will, but when you decide to take a bite of that forbidden fruit, whether you're aware or not aware, what is the trajectory of that action, of taking free will to say, hey, I'm going to bend the rules a little bit? Do you do so to a point of chaos, or do you do so in a manner to make change, to genuinely experiment, to genuinely test the waters in the universe and say, all right, well, I understand the popular opinion, or maybe with this institution or that culture or that religion, that is more or less the consensus. Sometimes people are curious and say, oh, I want to push the line a little bit. So what's right or wrong in love, only you really know.
Yeah.
You got to trust the clear evidence. You got to trust how the Most High speaks to you and through you. And that's where I know, again, when it comes down to putting up these proper boundaries, or even what you call them, guardrails, and just creating terms of engagement with each version of you, and saying, hey, world, here's the version that I am of myself today, and if you want to gain access to myself, to me in my universe, then these are the conditions that you have to meet respectfully,
Yeah.
because everybody is gifted their own personal life, and you don't have the right, I believe, and I know in my heart of hearts, you don't have the right to manipulate or damage or just threaten anybody else's free will or their existence or their peace or their opportunity to manifest paradise. You have certainly the ability to decide how you engage with somebody,
Yep.
but you can't control them. And I think that's where it comes down to relationships, when a person is developing their ecosystem to keep them in tune, to keep them protected. Those early family and friends are very important.
Yeah, because they're helping you learn too. They did a lot of the work to even get you prepared for a relationship.
Exactly.
They know you at your most vulnerable. They know
But that's where it's like
inner child a lot
and that's
of
where
times.
consciously or subconsciously, how are people preparing to get you ready for a relationship?
Yes.
What do you want out of life? And that's where, with all of these things, it's so important to be our true selves, to not hide from the shadows and the darkness, to fully claim, because love gets wicked if you're not careful, spiritually,
And
mentally,
people
and
have
physically.
the power to manipulate you if they know what embarrasses you. So if you are living in your confidence and your truth and you have nothing to hide, you're not easily embarrassed, there's less that people have to poke holes in your life or your relationship. There's less ammunition other people have to try and tear you down. And that comes down to your faithfulness and your confidence in yourself, your confidence in your spiritual connection, So we're going to talk more. This has been a great conversation. Love it all. Love it all. Yeah.
Stay ready, y'all. Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes.
100 mil, and we still on the grind. Yes, Lord. Shout out. It's a cold world. It's a paradise. Your vision is incredibly, incredibly important when it comes down to seeing what happiness is, seeing what true wealth is. And I know that's one of the things that J. Cole has been speaking on, because, you know, cold world could be a cold world or it could be his world. And when he says that cold world, y'all already know the vibes. Y'all already know the energy that Cole has consistently been on. And that's why we got to give that, you know, special gratitude. Certainly a lot of things that we can analyze and debate over. But one thing that I have no doubt about celebrating is that his music has been a unifying force. It's been an enlightening force.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to his love for basketball as well, and how he speaks to all the hoopers out there. I know for me, again, when I'm playing high school hoops, J. Cole was a major part of that soundtrack. So
J. Cole was definitely a major part of just coming of age for me, you know, respect. Girl to a woman kind of era.
That's what's up. I know that El Varner track.
Yep, that was big. That was big.
Big joint.
My first make out to what's that song? Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. That will always stand out in my head.
Wow. Wow. That's
I knew I was doing poetic. Wrong when that song came on.
That's poetic right there. Hey, it's a beautiful thing how music is a soundtrack to our lives and our journeys.
Yeah.
So, special shout out to the knowledge that we can unpack in situations like that, in songs like J. Cole's 100 mil. Because certainly we have major goals on the horizon for us, right? We want to get the bag to infinity and beyond, right? Who doesn't? We want the acclaim to infinity and beyond. After taking over planet Earth and all 8 billion people here, I'm sure people will get, where can we get more followers? I want more followers after the 8 billion, even after that. You know, you got people that have that kind of competitive spirit, but you want to make sure that it's a competitive spirit from a place of integrity rather than just outright greed and trying to prove something and doing things from the wrong places. So with that said, there are a lot of transformations that have happened in our entertainment ecosystem, especially over these past several years. And you can't really talk about modern day streaming or modern day music without mentioning the streamer.
Yep.
And now these streamers, similar to social media, are starting to become more of a widespread conversation with the masses. More and more demographics are starting to discover what this universe comes with.
There a lot more operates. People are putting them in their marketing toolkit. Like if you're doing a press run, not only are you doing the typical PR and, you know, going on the news or going on some kind of radio station, but you're probably going to stop by one of these streamers when you drop an album too.
Absolutely. So again, you can't really talk about streaming at this point. And again, so many awesome streamers out there. And we're in a situation where we want to give everybody their praise. You know, numbers are a big deal, but similar to what Cole said is, you know what I'm saying, it's more about time. Yep. It's not really about the money. It's about how you spend your time. And if you can have millions or billions, but you don't have freedom over your time, then what is your wealth really? I guess that depends on your personal perspective. So again, shout out to two of the major players. The biggest streamer in the world is a brother, Kai Cenat, on the Twitch platform. And then you have Aiden Ross, who was formerly on Twitch, but made a major boss move. He's a part owner. Both of these brothers millionaires. But with Aiden Ross, again, being a white brother, white Jewish brother, actually, from Boca Raton, from Florida. Kai Cenat is from the Bronx, New York. With both of these individuals, they capture a different spectrum. Yeah. And again, it's not to, you know.
But there is overlap.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of overlap. But just to have that obvious conversation up front of white men being in black spaces, white women being in black spaces and capitalizing from the culture. Yep. And that sensitive relationship. Yeah. Because Aiden Ross has had his claim to fame, if you will. He's come to notoriety from streaming a lot of black hip hop artists.
Even when he was starting out, because there's a lot of conversation about, right now, like the past few months. But if you go way back in Aiden's career, that's how he was starting out too. It was that same kind of thing. He wasn't
a lot
as
of them
big.
coming from the gaming universe, playing 2K and other games, Fortnite games of that nature. But again, matching those streams up with bringing on different rappers, bringing on different personalities, and sometimes it's no secret. No disrespect to Jack Harlow being number one, no disrespect to Eminem, and his talent and his reign at different points, in the culture. But again, there's no doubt that, white privilege is a thing. And you never want to take away from anybody in their talent and make it just about somebody's race. Again, I know as a black person, as a cultural phenomenon that I don't want to put myself in a box. Again, because while I celebrate my blackness, I also understand that I have a beautiful, beautiful combination of culture that influences me and that inspires me. And genetically, again, being African American, African blood running through me, Native American, Cherokee blood running through me, and European, Irish blood running through me. All of these different layers are very interesting. But when it comes down to both of my parents, when you look at them, they are black. My great grandparents is, again, like so much love and gratitude. That's where the Irish comes in.
Yeah, pretty similar on my side too. I know we have to do the ancestry side by side, but it's pretty similar.
It's divine. It's divine. So shout out to all of our family. Shout out to our family from all cultures. But that being said, bringing it back to Aiden Ross has been a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
And most recently, again, this is a conversation that I think extends through multiple generations, because we just came across a clip of Aiden actually hanging up on 50 Cent.
Can you imagine? He hung up on 50 Cent.
Hey, it's
he was stressed out. He was stressed out.
To it. And again, with Aiden, he made a transition from Twitch because his streams would get a little risque. And essentially,
he's on Kick now, right?
With that quick play, he's a co-owner of Kick, so they have a different level of control in that area, but they're also still building it.
Yeah.
So he has a certain number of investors that he's tapped in with, and he's in a situation where he's trying to build the Kick platform. He's trying to bring people over from Twitch because essentially, he did get banned.
Yeah.
And I know maybe he probably could have worked some things out on the back end, but I think
he was thinking big picture. Yeah.
Exactly. And he has people on his team that are also thinking in similar ways. So when it comes down to them being able to garner thousands, almost 100,000 people at one point in time on different streams, during Black History Month last year, Kai Cenat broke the record of being able to reach 300,000 streamers or subscriptions within a month.
Mm-hmm. That was a big moment, and he hasn't been top since. Like, there's a huge gap right between him being like the top streamer and the next person.
That was a big moment. He broke records.
Yeah,
and essentially, again, we've seen things evolve with this whole streaming universe a lot in this past year, 2 years. Again, shout out to all the new folks in the space. Again, just the YouTuber community in general. Again. Just a quick shout out to Duke Dennis. I know he just celebrated his 30th birthday last week.
Yeah.
So definitely, again, he's a big inspiration in the space. I know a lot of people rock with him.
Justin Bieber just turned 32.
Hey, man, shout out to all my brothers out here pushing 30 and that have actually conquered 30 and are stepping in that 30 vibration. Shout out. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing all the way across the board to see the ways that these young people are able to get money out here, but it becomes interesting within the industry when folks like, again, 50 Cent, not 50%, but folks like 50 Cent call.
Well, he might be asking for 50%
or
whatever he's going to be doing.
The one big moment that has everybody talking again, Aiden Ross had Playboy Cardi on his stream and essentially put up about $2 million.
Yeah.
I think they also referenced that Aiden paid $1 million for Rick Ross and then another $2 million for Chris Brown. So a lot of
and 21 Savage, I know you paid a lot for him too.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes down to the sustainability
Yeah.
of that model, because that's a very, attractive booking price. So
Yeah.
if other artists can like, hey, yo, I'm trying to get booked next.
Yep.
Again, the conversation around the money. So that's the reason why Aiden hung up, because when
Yeah.
it comes down to money and him basically, you know, being in at this crossroads where he knew that the rappers came on his stream originally because of, again, he gets a extra nod from the white community because he is white in the space.
Yeah.
And a lot of younger white kids, men and women, I'm sure, could see themselves in him.
Yeah.
So that can add to his cultural momentum. Not saying that it completely does,
Yeah.
and not taking away from his talent, but it's a real thing. We have to acknowledge the clear evidence.
Yeah.
So now when it gets too much, and now it's like, oh, y'all want to.
And Black History Month is over.
And yeah, you did make that point.
Aiden's like, look, it's March. I can't keep dishing out millions of dollars to y'all.
Exactly. So again, business is business.
Yep.
No secret. But just again, with the streaming conversation and sustainability of this space and how all the folks playing it. Again, it's a major conversation. So be on your P's and Q's. Shout out to all the streamers out there that are being able to, build a lifestyle for themselves. AMP, RDC, definitely a group of brothers here in the Atlanta region that have been doing their thing for a good minute. Again, a lot of different influencers out there. Shout out to all the ladies doing their thing. Shout out to Overtime Basketball, operating in the spaces. Again, it's a lot of great things, a lot of great momentum, and folks are tuned in. Mm-hmm. Folks are definitely tuned in. So those numbers are a real thing. So we see these worlds converging of more traditional entertainment and some of these newer forms of entertainment coming about. So again, we'll continue to keep y'all posted on how this space evolves.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of money in that space, but at a certain point, it's not even about the money.
Yep.
It's about something deeper. It's about the time spent. And that was the whole controversy, because Playboy Cardi basically came in for only 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And took $2 million, if that. So that was a big deal. And because you're letting down the audience that are excited to see him. Cardi has his own, motivations personally, again, professionally, whatever he is doing, actively or not consciously.
As he's building his brand.
Yeah. How you keep that mystique, how you, just build that momentum.
Yep.
So a lot of conversations that can be had in this arena, but we just want y'all to be aware of the major numbers going down. Again, $2 million for less than an hour, less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, less than 30 minutes, if even 20 minutes, bro. He was not on long.
Yeah, that was borderline public bank robbery. And then you had the other situation with 21 Savage.
Oh yeah, he literally was trying to cheat, right, while they were playing
and they were
a
gambling.
game.
And that's another big thing on these streams. So again, with kids out here, be responsible with your resources. Gambling has certain age restrictions for a reason. You want to just learn about this world and the universe a little bit before you're just using the same resources that feed you and pay your bills.
Yeah.
You want to be mindful of just not gambling that away, because life gets real out here. So.
Yep. And shout out to this beautiful internet platform that you're listening to this on right now. Again, you're Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on exclusively 101 TKO Radio. Yeah.
Yeah. Live from the
What's love? What's life? Our beautiful beings all across the universe. You are moonwalking with Dawn and Daze on 101 TKO Radio.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. And we are unapologetically requesting that y'all go ahead to that app store and please download the app. It's a beautiful thing. We have an app, family.
Yeah. Make it
There's
easy
an
on
app that you
yourself.
could tap into this show and so many other great shows. Shout out to the entire TKO team. It's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of great things going on, a lot of beautiful momentum, and Dawn and I, we're blessed. We're blessed to help support and help add more value. There's already an abundance of value that already exists here at Privy Stonecrest at 101 TKO, and
Yes.
just again all these souls that have journeyed to this point where we find this kind of alignment where it's like, wow, really standing on the shoulders of giants. So all of the stories of our ancestors and being able to be unapologetically black, unapologetically securing that bag, talking about money, talking about life, talking about culture, and doing so in a healthy way.
That's right. Snaps to that.
That's the vibe. That's the
Yes,
vibe.
I love that. Yeah. We talk about, big money, and black people of color. I don't know if y'all saw some clips, but Rihanna was in India performing at a billionaire's wedding.
Can you my money?
Can y'all imagine that? Okay, you pull up to your friend's wedding. It's another beautiful day. Excited to celebrate their love. Suddenly, boom, Rihanna's on stage, full production, got background dancers, her band, everything.
That's
Rihanna. $5 million. Okay, that is nothing to scoff at. That is serious.
I like that.
I like that too. I like that big money. And Riri looked good doing it too. So it was a whole extravaganza. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of remind me of when Beyonce, performed in Dubai.
Yeah.
For the was it a resort or a hotel opening?
Yep.
But
yep.
yeah, no, that's goals. I know that's on the vision board, I think, for us, Dawn and Daze.
Why not?
Lives. Yeah, like
why not?
Why not?
Everybody go ahead. Again, if it's something that genuinely resonates, it's possible.
Yep. Well, two part. It's on the vision board for us to have a big name perform at our wedding. That's one side. But also on the other side of the vision board is for us to get paid to that big dollars to perform at a big moment like that too. I'm putting both of them on the vision board.
I love it. It's amazing the way that these lights can shine on the planet. These are human beings. We can trust and believe. We're firm believers that no person is necessarily better than another person.
Yeah.
In the spirit of healthy competition, though, people can be more dedicated to manifesting their best version, and their light might shine in such an amazing way that it makes you feel like you're in the shadows.
But that comes down to you just standing on yourself and realizing you don't have to stand in the shadows.
And how you perceive
Yeah.
it. It's all based on your perception.
Yeah.
So it's very important that with these stars, we understand why they're getting that amount.
Yep.
Why money is what it is. Understand the energy of it. And just because somebody has more money or is securing a bigger bag, it does not immediately translate to them being
Happier.
a better
Yep.
character,
Yep.
of just living a better life, of them being happier. So that's why, again, remembering that respectfully, it's you and you. You don't got to worry about competing against anybody else. You just got to find that balance within yourself, because even you don't want to get lost in trying to, compete with your former self in an unhealthy way. But I understand that whole saying of, oh, I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday. I can respect that. But just make sure that you have that noble mentality, that responsible mentality, and how you carry these things. Because, again, once that bag gets involved, that $5 million for a show, again, you got a lot of people that would literally do some damage, literally go out here and hurt some folks to be the next Rihanna or Beyonce, or to just get next to them. Again, we saw a whole series talking about the obsession with fan culture with Swarm.
Yeah, Swarm
that Amazon Prime show that was worked on by Donald Glover, and I know he had an amazing partner as well involved in that, them joining forces to tell that story.
Yeah, I think with all of these things, whether you're a fan or a celebrity or just someone who just is an average Joe, or, at the end of the day, I think happiness or like true fulfillment is having the choice to do what you want to do. Rihanna, I'm sure she was appreciative of $5 million, but I don't know how much she needs $5 million. You know what I'm saying? It's always about, I think, true freedom and joy comes from having the choice to do something. Like you're not ever having to fiend for money. It's like I'm partnering with people. I'm making money from things that I enjoy doing. I'm
Absolutely.
working with people that I enjoy being around. I'm sure if those people that had their wedding, it was like a bridezilla situation and it was not conducive and she wasn't, appreciating how they were moving, she probably could have just said no and it, wouldn't have made that much of a difference in her day. Same thing with Beyonce. Same thing to anybody that's probably in a lot of these projects, how you make that decision. I think that's the ultimate goal. Whether you're, making 6 figures a year, 4 figures a year, infinity figures a year, whatever it may be, right? I think the real power that we all can strive for is to have a choice in what we do every day, not feeling like we're required to do anything. Everything we do is something that we decide to do. I appreciate working with these people. I appreciate working at this job. I appreciate performing at this stage, right? I think that's the ultimate goal. And I think that when I saw Rihanna on stage, that just what it showed to me, because she's talking about how she's, planning a tour and all these things, and all of a sudden you see her at a wedding. It's because she has the choice. Rihanna chooses what she wants to do now.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And because she's built such a strong brand, she's also coming off of a legendary Super Bowl performance.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Again, respect to how we take lemons and turn them to lemonade. I know there's...
I pull up in a lemon.
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of conversation. Obviously when Jay-Z first was integrating his ecosystems and partnering with the NFL.
Oh, the Rock Nation, Super Bowl, yeah.
Exactly. There's a lot of controversy there. And again, we're in America, so the black experience is so dynamic. And it's so much more than that word black. Blackness is American culture. You can't say America. You can't say this part of the world. You can't speak on these things without acknowledging
the Black
quote
American.
unquote black community.
Yeah.
And we already know Black Twitter going to pop out for anything and everything. Black X, I guess it is now.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things when it comes down to these prominent people in the culture, from Sean Carter to Sean Combs to Bill Cosby to Robert Kelly. There are a lot of individuals.
At first I was like, who's that? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, all across the board. And there's been, again, conversation and speculation, again, around Jay-Z specifically.
Yeah.
And with a lot of these controversies, especially within these past 5 to 10 years, of seeing these pillars in black culture have moments of legitimate concern. Of us really having to dissect and peel back the layers on what is right, what is wrong.
Yeah.
And how should we as a human family, how should we carry forward when wrong is done in life and beyond life itself as we know it.
Okay, Daze.
How do we create the best world and best ecosystem for our future children ultimately, for the future generations?
We have to learn from all these different
thing to
moments.
do. Absolutely.
Like, let's just keep on getting better and better. That's why Me Too was such the movement that it was, because once you see one person doing it, you feel comfortable to share your own perspective, whether or not those are valid. It's a whole another conversation. But standing in your truth goes a long way, and that's the legacy you want to build on.
And we want to be very mindful with how we speak to our personal legacy and anybody else's legacy. I know with the Moonwalking and Dawn Daze perspective, we certainly want to make sure we're being responsible in how we're having these conversations. We want to make a holistically successful show. We want to certainly ensure that the numbers are matching the quality, the quantities matching the quality respectfully, but at the same time, just doing anything for ratings can get you in a very dangerous spot. And sometimes when you just throw out information or you speak on people's names without having all the information, you can create just a dangerous storm.
Yep.
And just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I just want to make sure it's clear that we're always on the side of justice of every human being. If one human being is in pain or is in hurting, then we have more work to do. So no matter how powerful a person is via their money or their fame or anything else or any other aspect of their influence, we all have to hold ourselves accountable. So just got to drop those bars real quick as we talk about these major moments again. A Rihanna performing at a billionaire's wedding. It's hard to say billionaire for a lot of people without folks thinking about corruption. Like, can you be a billionaire but still have a level of integrity and keep your soul intact?
Righteousness, yeah.
Or does billionaire automatically equal, oh, they're an evil mastermind? There's no way that they could have gotten to $1 billion without compromising their integrity or without severely hurting other people. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
This is where a new age is coming in, where we have
Right.
to, money is an energy, so we can't demonize money. And if someone has a lot of money, immediately demonizing them is not all the way fair, especially if they're philanthropic in nature. But this is where we're coming full circle, I think, as a human society, where we just kind of have to break down, some of the structures in our mind. I think that the idea of corruption and money being so closely tied is something that has gone back hundreds of years, generations. So it's a whole new paradigm when you see people today. The average person can become a millionaire because of the internet and all the new advancements in technology, AI. So we all have to kind of just completely break down that power structure and way that we look at people with money. Because if we're demonizing people with money, then we're inherently demonizing the future versions of ourselves if we desire to be someone that's wealthy. So yeah, just got to make sure we're always keeping that integrity intact.
That's a layer conversation. We want to continue to have it, because we want to keep y'all, just in tune, and we want y'all to be accountable, family. We all want to be accountable. Yeah. So if everybody was talking some nonsense around when Jay-Z first has the partnership, but when, Rihanna performs, or again, even before then, having Dr. Dre, Snoop, 50 Cent, shout out, I know we were just talking about him, Kendrick, Mary J. Blige,
he brought out J-Lo and Shakira too. That was because of the Roc Nation partnership.
So just all these different partnerships, all these different major performances that get after the fact, everybody celebrating. Everybody just talking about Usher recently, but how many people are still standing on that soapbox and saying, oh, it's wrong for Jay-Z to partner with the NFL. I think it's a nuanced conversation. Even us having corporate backgrounds, we understand the framework of partnership. And again, from Martin to Malcolm, we got to find balance, because both of them understood that ultimately we got to unify. Yeah. We cannot hate. Malcolm had an evolution in his rhetoric. We cannot hate another race, another creed. We cannot allow that hate to consume us and then become the exact same thing that we said we despised.
Exactly.
So it's very important to keep all this in mind for all my billionaire dreamers out there. Why not? Why not? But also ask yourself why and what you're willing to do for it, and how you will be affected, how you or your family will be affected by these things.
Totally.
And it's like, I was like, when does it have to happen? When do I have to get to that amount? Because again, we already billionaires when it comes down to the blessing. So that's consistently the mindset. So talking about all these things, talking about our culture, talking about our people, just real quick. It's March. It's March, y'all. Yeah. It's the month of the Freaknik documentary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they just dropped the trailer, I think, like March 1st or like the last day of February.
Exactly. So our culture is a real thing. I'm so interested to see the perspective, to interview some folks from overseas that know nothing about Freaknik, know nothing about that culture, and to see what they take away from it. And we know sex sells, violence sells, and those are things that will be touched on in the documentary, but it's a lot of positive things that come from that kind of creativity, that kind of raw moment in history. Just the culture culminating, so much healing going on. And again, in the healing journey, you still do have people that are hurt. So maybe might not be conducting themselves the best way possible. But at the same time, again, when you're trying to spread your wings, you just might run into a few storms. When you try to fly and travel the world, you just might confront some turbulence.
And it's always something to learn from.
Always something to learn from. So definitely shout out to Freaknik, shout out to the entire team putting that together. Jermaine Dupree, Atlanta Royalty, and Atlanta moments, and Atlanta milestone cornerstone moments.
Seriously, and I cannot wait to watch it. Like
It's gonna be a vibe.
I'm gonna get the popcorn. We need to get a watch party or something going to just really experience it. You know, I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
that'd be a vibe. Yeah.
Hey, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I know. Yay. You are Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio. Stay close. Welcome back. You
Peace.
are Moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio. Shout out to our DJ, because those two songs back to back, very necessary. Love it. And it's putting me in the perfect mood to kind of just give y'all a little reading of the stars, some energy that's going on in the cosmos. As Daze knows, I already love springtime because of so many different reasons, but on an astrological level, spring is a beautiful time because in my eyes, that's the actual new year. When Aries season begins and everything comes into full bloom, when spring starts on March 21st, we are officially in the new astrological new year calendar, all right? So, what's coming up this weekend? All right, on March 10th, we are having a super new moon in Pisces. What's fun about this is that it's starting a whole new, just like fun season from March through April of just cosmic energy. So whenever they talk about like wishing on a star, this is the time to wish on a star, because it's not only is the moon going to be in Pisces and the sun is going to be in Pisces, but also Uranus is going to be in Pisces and Neptune, which is very unique for those signs, especially while it's happening during the sun season. Oh, shout out to all my Pisces out there. I'm a Pisces moon. And for the moon to be in Pisces, bruh, it's some fun energy that's happening where a lot of manifestation can take place, a lot of revealing of the things that you truly desire. It's all happening, y'all. Not only will there be a new moon, a super new moon this weekend. And when someone says a super new moon, it's a super new moon because the moon will be as close to the sun as it can be on its monthly orbit, all right? So that's why it's called a super new moon. It's as close as it can be. We still can't see it though. And it's starting a whole new season for the month of March, because we have not one but two eclipses coming up. We'll have a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. And if y'all don't know, every time there's an eclipse, it has to be kind of coupled with, if there's going to be a solar eclipse, then there's going to be a lunar eclipse, because that's just how the earthly rotation goes. But what's fun about this is that this upcoming eclipse is one that we don't see very often. It only happens every 375 years, y'all. And North America, in particular, the East Coast, is lucky enough to have it viewed on our path. So we are all pretty lucky to be able to see this in real time. Once we get closer to those eclipses, I'll be sure to let y'all know. Make sure you're constantly moonwalking with Dawn and Daze so y'all can be up to date on all the beautiful things happening. But for now, keep all those good things in your spirit, all these good things in your mind, knowing that the new year and all these eclipses are coming up soon, because this weekend is super new moon weekend. So get all your crystals, get some new moon water, take a nice bath. Make sure you do some stargazing, because since the moon will be out, you'll be able to see the stars more clearly. Get into your feminine energy. Even my guys, really get into your feminine receiving energy right now. It is the time for it. Nurture yourself and maybe write down some things that you're hoping to manifest as March comes in, especially if you felt like 2024 was a little bit of a rocky start. You didn't really accomplish all your New Year resolutions on January 1st. You have a new opportunity March 21st, and get ready for it right now, March 10th. So that's a little bit, just sharing again what's going on. I want to give a big shout out to Ralph Smart. If anybody that's moonwalking with Dawn and Daze, you probably have already heard of Ralph Smart, but if you haven't, I think you'll really enjoy his content. His birthday is March 3rd. Big shout out to him.
Infinite Waters.
Yes.
Diving deep once again.
Shout out. And shout out to him, shout out to Daze, because not only did he introduce me to Ralph Smart, but he also introduced me to Queen Amun-Ra. Her tarot channel and her knowledge channel on YouTube is so dope. She's very consistent uploading content. So if y'all want to dive deeper, those are two great people that we really recommend. Hopefully we can invite them to our wedding too someday.
Hey,
shout out to Queen Amun-Ra.
It's going to be a big divine orchestration.
You already know. This is how it goes. But I love how things have come full circle. And again, we're just in a beautiful spiritual time, y'all. Anybody that's honoring Lent, I send you much love. Easter's coming up at the end of March, and then we have Ramadan that is also starting on the super new moon happening this weekend. So everybody that honors Ramadan, big shout out to you. We will be honoring Ramadan this year as well and fasting. So as we go through our journey, we'll be sure to keep y'all posted as we go through the season. But it's all a beautiful time, y'all. So let's just enjoy that. Make sure you're doing everything rooted in love and, you know, love for yourself and love for others. It's the time for it, and the world needs it.
Truly. Love is the answer. Every single time.
And there's nothing else to it.
And love is God. Love is that supreme energy and source. That's what it all comes back to. Everything is love.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Carters one time. It is an honor and a privilege to celebrate another day alive. And as we align all people through the vibration of music, through the conversation about love, we want to ensure that we're learning from each other, that we're celebrating the unique nature of every culture, every perspective on life,
Yeah.
and the spiritual and religious frameworks that people identify with and develop. And as we all find our faith, as we all find conviction in our faith, it's a gift. Because when you see somebody else so convicted in their faith, it gives you inspiration to say, oh, let me find something that I believe in.
Yeah.
With that much conviction. So with all of these different religions, we want to remember that love is supreme. Love is the answer in every scenario. We've already been through so much as a people.
Yeah.
Again, we've gone to the moon and back, whether we're touching grass here on Earth or, again, big stepping and taking leaps and bounds on the moon for mankind. Again, literally and or figuratively. We've seen a lot, folks.
Yeah.
And in 2024, keeping that Mamba mentality, we want to remember that there is a higher reason and that the enemy does not have the right to claim victory, because victory is ours. If you want to give the enemy that right to win, then that's your personal prerogative. But that is not what is destined for many of us. Many of us, we are designed for a purpose. We're designed to win, not to lose at being ourselves.
Yep.
So every time we don't take a L and turn into a lesson, and we allow the enemy in whatever form, whatever is not for your highest good, we have to love on it, because the enemy is also the inner me.
Say
So
that again. Say it again.
the enemy is also the inner me. And you got to be aware. That self-awareness is very key. So as we continue to create and manifest, as we continue to put the respect on our names first and foremost, and understand that we have to teach others how to interact with us. No, this is how I view life and love.
Yeah.
So if you want access to my world, to my universe, then these are some things that we should align on. And all love and respect if we do not align. But I cannot sacrifice or compromise who I am, my integrity. I can't miss out on my blessings, on my paradise, just because I want to people please whoever else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what this is all about. As you come into these spiritual times of the year, we want to remember that every day is an opportunity to celebrate life. Every day is an opportunity to start a new chapter, to discipline. Every moment is an opportunity to do that. But when you have that collective energy of other people also going through a period of sacrificing, of humbling themselves, we learn a lot.
Yeah.
We learn a lot. So it's a big blessing, again, to be on this platform with you all as we rise and shine above all false evidence appearing real, building Bayana bridges. Bayana is my last name, by the way, of the clear evidence.
The clear evidence.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Again, Dawn and Daze, we are here to ensure that our noble actions succeed always in all that we do. So keep that close to you. Remember that we turn that NASA acronym to noble actions succeed always, because we're discovering the universe within as well.
Yes. In honor of the universe within.
Yes, Lord.
We got a pretty cool song
A special
that
one.
was featured on my big streaming debut as far as like album was 2020 Vision that we dropped back in 2021.
Shout out to you painting that cover art.
Yes, shout out. That was definitely a work of love to be able to
painting in here.
Yeah.
So the viewers can see.
I know one day y'all definitely got to see some paintings. We'll make sure to bring them in so the YouTube community can see too. But yes, shout out to Nebula. That was a big moment. Shout out to Mike Mraz and his studio, and my brother EJ, he produced this beat as well.
Shout out to bro.
The 2020 Vision was a big moment for Amir, and I was just glad that my brother and I could be a part of it, because it not only was his moment, but it became our moment.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Alana, Butterfly Lawn, too, who was on one of the tracks with us, too.
Love you, sis.
Bringing
Yes,
she helped with even curating to make sure that the track list was in the right way, too. It was definitely a family affair. So whenever I think of Nebula, I just think of that time and the power of manifestation. That song really did that for us.
It was a healing moment. We were, again, locked down in New York.
Yeah.
We brought in 2020 in New York City, and we were in New York City a good majority of the pandemic. Definitely spent a good amount of time with family in Houston and Maryland, and started planting some seeds here in Georgia as well. But yeah, that project is very, very special, and this song specifically, Nebula, was actually the first song I started working on the project, and it's a very spiritual song because I got some heavy news. Again, we all experienced the difficulty of transitioning in unique ways in 2020, and folks before then or after then. But again, the 2020 vision is that love is the answer, and fear does not need to be acknowledged.
Yep.
False evidence appearing real. We have to
rise above,
respect the clear evidence. We have to humble ourselves. And I understand the phrase, fear no one but God, or just respecting the energy of fear. I understand that, but we're not going to let that frequency win. And that's what we learned in a major way. And this song was part of that healing process and healing journey. So much love to our entire family and our angels above.
That's right. That's right. Thank y'all for tuning in to another show. We appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next time as we keep moonwalking with Dawn Daze on 101 TKO Radio.
We need love.